eBay, it's a wonderful place sometimes. If you just happen to get lucky, find the right bike, find the right seller, you can pick up some right bargains and have plenty of spares and projects to go by. These two, these cost me a whole £10. The ladies' bike, 99p. The men's bike, £8 something or other. Between them, there are plenty of parts to salvage here. I'd go as far as to say rare parts on them, which are worth, let's say, 10 times the amount I paid. You've just got to keep an eye out for those bargains, and these came from the same seller. It's one thing that I always check. If I'm looking at a bike, I'll check what else the seller has to offer. You know, you might be able to get 2-3 bikes at the same time, or a bunch of parts, and be able to get a bit of a discount on them. Now, this first bike is a Rudge. It's a men's bike, and according to the Sturmy Archer, it's 1956. I have yet to do any dating on it, so I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's definitely been painted at some point in its life, maybe twice. There's a nice thick layer of this blue on it, and some red underneath, but that doesn't look like an original colour, so I'll have to do some investigating there. Not sure what I'm going to do with this bike just yet, but the reason I went for it, the parts that I saw on it, are two of the parts mainly in this photo. This shot. If you know what to look for on a Rudge, or if you know about the Rudge, you'll know that they have a handprint stamped crankset, and it's pretty desirable. Like, I've wanted one for a while, and on this one I saw it. It was hidden away, but I just saw these straight lines here and pretty much instantly recognised it. You'll see the Rudge chain set. It's just a hand basically. It's the Rudge logo, and these alone can probably fetch £40, and I only paid £10 for the bike. But this is something that I want to keep. Whether I do the bike up or not, I haven't decided yet, but this is something I will be taking off. I like these old stamps, chain sets. They look good, but that is the one part I really wanted for this bike. And you know, the chain case and everything has kept everything in good condition. The other thing I noticed from a different shot of the bike, it was a shot looking down from the top and looking at the rims, and if you see just how shiny these rims are, just in the background there, that gave me an inkling that the rear, at least, the rear is a stainless rim. And lo and behold, if you look down here, we've got a 26 by 1 3/8 Rally stainless. It'll be a 40 hole because it's got the Sturmy Archer dyno hub paired to it, and that hub is actually a 4-speed as well. Unfortunately, the front wheel doesn't match, but that doesn't actually look too bad a condition. The front wheel is just a normal steel, normal chrome plated. The spokes are all rusted, so it really needs a rebuild. It would be good to have a matching pair of stainless rims on here. I can't see any. Where's the stamps? The stamps are normally around the valve, but I can't see anything on there. I have to do a bit of research, but this could be an actual original front rim, but it's one that needs a rebuild, so you've got to be careful of these rusted spokes. You can clean them up, but how strong they are after all these years, 60 plus years, I don't know. One other desirable thing about this bike, if I can pan up, is the saddle. The saddle isn't a Brooks, but it is a big old leather sprung saddle. All the rails have been painted this blue, so it's going to be a bit hard to clean up, and the saddle itself is, although the leather looks alright, it feels quite flexible still. It's not too dried out. It has got all the cracks around, all the rivets. That's something you need to watch out for, and it is torn on the other side, so using this to ride around on might not last too long. Always look out for a good saddle. Always look out for a good saddle. As for the cockpit on this bike, you know, it's in pretty good condition. The bars will clean up nice. That's always something to look for. Just check the condition of the chrome. We've got the Sturmy Archer 4-speed shifter on here, so that is that's a nice shifter to have. It's 3 or 4-speed actually, this one. Everything works, the bars work, and we've got a nice light on here, a nice light. Lens is in good condition, it's not cracked, it's not yellowed. Whether it works or not, I do not know. Should we try that? It's a nice Miller set actually. No, it doesn't work. It should be ran off the rear wheel, but unfortunately it doesn't work. One other thing to look out for if you are looking at a bike that's been painted at some point, obviously we can fix all this paint, but check out the chrome on it as well, because if the chrome looks good, have a closer look and check if it's painted. This stuff here is all painted, all the rod brakes painted apart from the bars apparently, and it will clean off. Obviously you can clean the paint off, but with the rust bubbling through what's painted, it might reveal something that you don't want to see underneath, so just always be wary of that. But it would be nice to see if it's actually got the original paint underneath. I would like to find that out, see what colour it is. The best way to actually find the original colour of the bike is usually to take off the badge. As you can see in a Rust job, they've just painted around the badge. So taking off this Rudge badge will show the colour of the head tube at least. Another great place to look is if you were to take out the fork. The steerer has generally been painted at least halfway up from factory, so you'll be able to see the original colour of the bike and help track down the original model. And even under this crown race here, because this, once you take that off and take the crown races off, you'll be able to see this crown cap underneath what colour the forks were. So that's the Rudge. I don't know what you make of it. I'm going to do my research into it, see if I can track down the exact model, but it does have a few nice parts on there, and it might be nice to get it back up and running. I mean, it only cost me £10 and I'll keep the crankset, but the rest of it, if I just throw on a different crankset, get it running, maybe even redo the paintwork, it'll be a nice little bike for someone. Now this second bike, it's an absolute steal in my opinion. Ladies' bikes don't tend to go for that much, so if you were to look at restoring this, doing a full restoration on it, I struggle to sell a ladies' bike. So for me, this is more of a parts bike, purely because of some of the parts it's got on it. I'm looking at putting onto other builds, and at 99p from the same seller, I couldn't really turn it down. It was advertised as just a ladies' bike that needed some restoration. There was no hint at the manufacturer, but I do recognise something. Again, if we have a look at the chain set here, the crankset, what I see here is a Royal Enfield crankset. I don't thoroughly know the history of the Royal Enfield company as a bicycle producer, but I do recognise that it has the cannon that they use as their symbol. If you learn about what the different manufacturers stamped in their chain rings, it's always a good way to identify the bike and identify how valuable it could be, how valuable the parts are. The chunky pedals are a kind of a weird one as well. Just looking at them then, I did just see John Bull number 1. So it looks to me, these are the original pedals. They are very loose. The axles aren't that good on them, but I mean, these John Bull pedals, seeing as the bike cost me 99p, these, to be honest, I haven't seen before. Could be £10, could be £20. That could be pretty valuable. I know John Bull is a large company, a big name from back in the day when these bikes were around. You know, brake blocks, handlebar grips, accessories like that. So these actually might be pretty valuable. Another nicety to look at from this bike in particular are the pump pegs here. Now these ones should compress, there we go. They will move up and down. Again, they are useful for any bike build that you're going to be doing in the future. So if you see a bike like this that you could grab parts from, you could donate to other builds, it's worth getting. As with the other bike, as with the Rudge, this bike is a 4-speed, But what makes this one even rarer is this is a 4-speed alloy body hub. I've not worked on the 4 speeds before, but I do know alloy hubs aren't that common. The rims on this, unfortunately, are well, they might be usable, but they will eat through pads, let's put it that way. All the chrome is gone, they are corroded, so I'd have to take these wheel apart and potentially reuse this hub. It's obviously got a nice shifter to match. I could actually put this on one I want to build up, and actually I want to steal the bars off this bike to put on that bike, so that might actually be useful. Yeah. This is something to look out for. These old calipers. These calipers are a sort of centre pull design. I have seen one set before that I've had on a bike. It was on an old Sunbeam from the 30s. And from what I remember, they were produced by Phillips or Halfords back in the day, and yeah, they're quite sought after. Unfortunately for me, there's only one on this bike. The front is just a standard steel caliper, and even the pannier rack. The pannier rack is a nice period steel rack. It's nothing special, like there's no hinges on it, there's no springs on it. But it's just a nice rack to have in the stores to put on period builds. And as I said, it's unfortunate, but the ladies' bikes don't tend to sell for that much money. So using this bike as a donor bike, I've saved these bars and grips. Let's say the second thing that attracted me to this bike. I want to use these bars on another build. If you've seen on Facebook or Instagram, you would have seen it. It's a Sun from the 40s. I want to use these bars on that bike, which I think I might actually go fixed gear, because I have a Bobby Dodger brake lever from Chris Birtwistle, and you know, that will work well. I think having the Bobby Dodger underneath here, no gears, just fixed gear. It should work well, it should look nice. Unfortunately, they're not adjustable, like I can't rotate them or take them off, so it is a stem and handlebars together. But even the brake levers are they're a really nice design. I'd even put them on the Hercules, because I've put some later calipers on the Hercules. This Sturmey Archer as well, it's not got the index window, the gear locator window on it, but it's a really nice original Sturmey Archer brake lever shifter. The last thing I want to mention about this bike that I looked out for was the front, the wing nuts. It's always nice to have a supply of wing nuts. So this bike cost me 99p. Those wing nuts would cost me more than that to buy. They are actually branded Royal Enfield, so potentially that limits their uses on other builds, and I think this hub will also be a Royal Enfield hub. So that's my eBay exploits for today. I thought I'd just go through these two bikes to show you what I'm looking for, how I try and find these bargains. I mean, these were an absolute steal. This one, I know it seems sacrilege almost to use it as a donor bike, but parts will be, I think, more valuable on another build than this. It is in a really nice condition though. Like, it's really nice original condition. I don't know, what do you think? It isn't often I come across something like these. It does take a lot of searching and just the right moment really. I was lucky to, I think, get these for such a low price. But it really does help looking for bikes from the same seller. Let me know what you think I should do with these bikes. Like, I'm definitely thinking I'm going to use this one as a donor bike. The other one, the Rudge, I might restore, we'll see. But let me know what you think of these two bikes, or leave any comments for searching for bargains maybe, or recommended sellers even in the comments, so anyone else looking for bikes can find them and know where to look. That's just me for today. Back to the ProFlex build tomorrow. That will be finished off. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch the ProFlex build tomorrow.